Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. So as you can all probably see and maybe hear, hopefully the mic won't catch much of that. Well, the snow came back today, and followed by a mix of sleet and rain, which is happening right now. But that's winter in New England for you. There's nothing we can do about it. Today I want to talk about something that I might have touched on here and there, sprinkling stuff on some of my videos in the past, but I want to go a little more in depth into this because I think it's extremely important for people to know these things and be aware, and also don't just take my word for it and do their own research, due diligence, discernment, and understand how much these things matter. So what it is the nature of us as human beings, right? As we are electromagnetic in nature. That's the first thing. Although we have a physical body that's made out of tissue, bone, blood, DNA, muscle, and all this stuff, and a lot of water. Remember, 70-something% of our body is water, 70, 75, something like that. We are electromagnetic in nature. This entire realm is electromagnetic. The earth itself has its own frequency, which is called the Schumann frequency, right? Go ahead and look that up. It's pretty fascinating stuff. So with the advent of technology, and when I talk about technology, I'm talking about the current technology that we have right now. These mobile devices, the computer age, right? Smart devices, smart TVs, tablets, you name it, everything. We have become subjected to a lot of this smog and fog that exists in the field, the electromagnetic field itself. That it affects us way more than people may know, realize, or understand. Because what happens is our body has its own frequency. And that frequency is actually the Schumann frequency. It's the frequency of the earth. Now let that sink in for a minute. Do you see how deep that is? That alone just proves how truly connected we are with the earth itself without even knowing or acknowledging that. Because most people, they are ignorant about this information. They just don't know. People don't look stuff up anymore. People are not interested in things like this anymore. Most people, they're just going on about their lives, just trying to live their lives and survive, right? Locked into the rat race. That's what it is. But knowing things is extremely important. Knowledge is power. Remember that. That's very, very true, that statement. That statement is a powerful statement. Nothing could be further from the truth than that. Knowledge is power. And the problem is less and less people read these days. I think it was back in 2017, the data that came out was that only 3% of the adult population read things, were readers. And I'm sure that number is probably lower now than it was in 2017. We are going through this, systematic, designedly it's a systematic thing that was designed to dumb down the population, and it starts with the children. And here is the problem: the earlier that young children are submitted to these frequencies and this electromagnetic smog and energetic interference that exists in the ether, in the field, the worse it is for their health and their well-being. It affects everybody, really. It affects all of us, right? But it affects children the most. And when you grow up in an environment that's being bombarded with that kind of frequencies and energies and things like that, it 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 does all kinds of things to the development of your brain, your capability to think for yourself, and everything. This is all by design, my friends. This is all by design. I doubt YouTube is gonna like this video that much. So I don't know how many views this is gonna get, but I'm gonna put the information out anyway. And then it came the advent of things like these new light bulbs that they have, right? In a lot of countries, they phased out the old bulbs. First were the fluorescent bulbs that came in, and then after that, they brought in the LEDs. The problem with these bulbs is the electromagnetic field that they generate that is very harmful to the human body. Don't take my word for it. Go do your own research. Research has been made about this. It exists, and it's out there for anyone who wants to look at it. There have been cases of nurses, groups of nurses that work, under these environments for long stretches of time where everything is LED lights and stuff, and they all complain of suffering from headaches and things like that, and it's all connected. Spain has done some research. Don't quote me on where or the name of the institutions that have done this. Just go do some Googling and it's going to come up. Spain has done some research on this where it's been, proven that when men are subjected to these lights for extended and constant periods of time throughout the day, many hours throughout the day, it increases, almost doubles their chance of getting prostate cancer. And the same thing occurs with women, but it's not obviously not prostate cancer, but it's mammal cancer. This is serious stuff, folks. Nobody talks about this. You're not going to hear anybody on mainstream media talking about these things and giving out warnings and things, because we live in a world where this system is not in your favor. The more people that get sick, debilitated by being exposed to this kind of things, the better it is for the system to continue to perpetuate itself the way it currently is. And, there's some irony to these things because, we were sold such a lie. It's such a scam. The LED light thing is a scam. We were sold these things under the premise that our energy bills would lower. It would make our houses more efficient. Now, let me ask you a single question. Did any of you notice your electricity bills lowering after you've done that switch? No, right? Because it's a lie. And I'm not going to say that they don't utilize less energy. I know they do. But the bills keep increasing. these companies, these corporations, they keep doing their own thing. They do whatever they want to do. And they sold us a lie to get everybody to adopt this when it was in its earlier stages. But the bills kept increasing. Regardless, it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, go do your own research on this stuff, because this is real. It affects the human body, and it affects us in a neurological manner more than anything. And I believe I talked about this in a previous video for sure, talking about how, my devices, when I sleep, they're never near me. I always leave them in another room. The other thing is, I think people should do some research and understand the importance of using, EMF blockers on the cases of their phones, or, Faraday cages and things like that 100% block all of these electromagnetic, fields that these things are constantly generating, because it is bad for our bodies. It is bad for our health overall. That's just a fact. It's an undeniable thing. It's an axiomatic truth. Some things, they just are the way they are, and there's nothing you can do to change that. You can call me conspiracy theorist, go ahead, whatever. This video, another thing, this video is not for people who suffer from cognitive dissonance or Stockholm syndrome, okay? We've gone past beyond that point now. This is for the people who know these things, and they understand that there is a cost, and it's not a low one at that. It's a very high cost that we end up paying for the development and widespread of these technologies among mankind, especially among young children that are still growing and understanding and developing their cognitive abilities. This is serious stuff here. So we need to be mindful of these things, be careful about it, and do our part to minimize the damage and the impact that it does on us and all our loved ones around us, because this is important stuff. This matters. If we want to live a life that is, healthy in the long run, we gotta care about these things. We can't ignore them. And now with 5G all over the place these days, and 6G upon the horizon, things are only gonna get worse in that sense. These companies, they don't care about these things. It's part of the plan. The more people out there who begin to lose their, ability to think in a critical manner, and it's happening a lot. I mean, look at the schools. Look at the amount of teachers right now that are going viral over social media, talking about how this new generation of kids that we have out there, they can't read. They can't learn, and all of these things. Why do you think this is happening? Ask yourself that question. Why do you think this is happening? Why do you think this has never happened before, and now it's becoming a common thing? Connect the dots. Do your research. Learn these things. It's a combination of the diet, the things that the kids are being fed, with this exposure to all of this, smog and pollution in the electromagnetic field. This is serious. This is not something to take lightly. Make fun of it all you want. Call me crazy all you want. I don't care. I know what I'm talking about because I've looked into it, and I know it's real. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. So, my advice to you is, first of all, don't believe me. Go do your research. And you will see that what I'm saying is correct. And just be mindful of the impact that these things do to, first of all, our minds, and then second of all, our bodies and our overall health, because these matters. It's extremely important. And this is why I made this video in the first place to begin with. So, with that said, if you like the content, don't forget to click that like button, share, subscribe. It helps the channel grow, reach more people. This is why I make these videos. It's all about awareness and knowing how to live a life that is more enjoyable at the end of the day, right? And I will catch you all on the next one. Be safe, take care. Until next time, my friends.